In this video, I'll be talking about the final review. So, there's this paper on Canvas, and I'll be solving most of the problems from this. And the rest of the problems that I don't solve, you could just look at some previous homeworks on how to solve them, and I think they're pretty easy. So, let's start with the first question, which is integrating log x over root x dx. So here we want to use the log x and 1 by root x. These are two functions, and we want to use integration by parts here because you can see that the method of substitution doesn't work. So you will have to use integration by parts. So from the lie rule, this is logarithm. So this should be the first function, which means f, and g prime should be 1 by root x. So that means f of x is log x and g prime of x is 1 by root x. So therefore g of x is root x by 2. G of x is 2 root x. Just integrate this function, you get g of x is 2 root x. And now we'll use the by parts formula, which says that integration f g is equal to, integration f g prime is equal to f g minus integration of f prime g. So therefore, and also f prime of x is 1 by x. So substituting the values here, you get integration of log x by root x dx is equal to f of x times g of x, which is 2 root x log x, minus integration of derivative first, which is 1 by x, times g of x is 2 root x dx. So this is 2 root x log x minus, so this and this will cancel out. You'll have integration of 2 by root x dx, which once again is 2 root x. So you'll have 4 root x plus c. So this is our final answer. Right, so let's move on to the next question. Integration of e to the 2x sine of e to the 2x. So since the derivative of e to the 2x is e to the 2x, it appears in the integration. We'll use the u substitution. So therefore du is 2 e to the 2x dx. So this becomes du by 2. Now this integration is nothing but e to the 2x dx becomes du by 2 times sine of u, and the integration of sine of u is minus cos of u plus c. So therefore this is equal to minus cos of e to the 2x by 2 plus c, which is our final answer. So now let's move on to the next question. Integration of square root of x square plus 4. So here once again we'll use the by parts formula, and this time we'll take 1 into square root of x square plus 4 dx, and this would be our f, and so f of x is square root x square plus 4, and g prime of x is 1. So therefore f is square root x square plus 4 and g is x after integrating this, and f prime is 1 by 2 root square x square plus 4 times 2x, which is x by square root x square plus 4. And so therefore this integration is So this can be written down as integration of f times g prime, which is fg minus integration of f prime g. So f is this and g is this, so you will have x square root x square plus 4 minus integration of f prime. F prime is x by square root x square plus 4 times g is x. So you will have this, and now you can use a trigonometric substitution here, because x square plus, so x can be written as 2 tan theta, so therefore dx is 2 sec square theta d theta. So therefore this becomes integration of 4 tan square theta by square root of 4 tan square theta plus 4 becomes 2 square root of tan square plus 1 times dx becomes 2 sec square theta d theta. So this is nothing but so these two will cancel out, and integrate square root of sec tan square theta plus 1 is square root of sec square theta, which is just sec theta. So this and this will cancel out, leaving a sec theta in the numerator. So this is 4 times tan square theta sec theta d theta. And now so you can also solve it in a different way. um, what you can do is so this integration can be thought of as so you add 4 and subtract 4 in the numerator. So and then this becomes integration of square root x square plus 4 minus integration of 4 by square root x square plus 4, and this is nothing but I. So what you have done is, okay, I'll do it in a new page. So like we had integration of square root x square plus 4 dx can be written down as x square root x square plus 4 minus integration of dx square by x square root x square plus 4 dx. And then what we can do is, I'll call this I. So I is this minus, so now I'll be adding and subtracting 4 in the numerator so that I can cancel some stuff. So this becomes x square root x square plus 4 minus integration of this and this will cancel out, so you will have this plus, so minus minus becomes plus. So therefore you have I is equal to x square root x square plus 4 minus, and here you have I again, so this can be written down as minus I plus 4 integration this. And so now what you have is, so you take this I here, you will have 2I is equal to x square root x square plus 4 plus 4 times integration of this. And now what you have is, so now you can integrate this. You can take x is equal to 2 tan theta, so therefore dx becomes 2 sec square theta d theta, and square root of x square plus 4 becomes 2 sec theta. So this essentially becomes I is nothing but half x square root x square plus 4 plus 2 times integration of this becomes 2 sec square theta d theta by this is 2 sec theta, and this would cancel out, and you know that the integration of sec theta is nothing but log of modulus of sec theta plus tan theta. So this is half x square root x square plus 4, and now you can just substitute theta is equal to tan inverse to x by 2, so you will have 2 log of tan inverse x by 2 sec of this plus tan of tan inverse x by 2. And now you can draw a triangle and see what happens to this value and this value, and you'll have your final answer. So that is how you can solve this. So now let's get to another problem, which is integrating from e to infinity 1 by x log x whole square. So this is a indefinite integration, and we remember that whenever there's an infinity in the domain, we'll replace it with this integration can be written down as, the definition for this is limit of t tends to infinity integration from e to t 1 by x log x whole square dx. So this infinity can be written down as limit t tends to infinity, and the bounds would change to t. And so how do we integrate this function? Well, we'll take, so since the derivative of log x is 1 by x which appears in this, so we'll take u is equal to log x, so du is 1 by x dx. So therefore this integration becomes limit t tends to infinity, and now I'll change the integration signs. U1 is log of e, which is 1, and this is log of t, and you have dx becomes, dx by x becomes dt, sorry du, and 1 by log x whole square becomes 1 by u squared. So therefore this is limit t tends to infinity, and the integration of 1 by u square is minus 1 by u, so you have this. So basically you have limit t tends to infinity minus 1 by sorry, yep, minus 1 by log t plus 1 by 1. So this is 1 minus 1 by log t, and limit t tends to infinity. And you know that log t as t tends to infinity, this is 1 by infinity, so this has to be 0. this limit is 0, so you'll have 1. So therefore the answer is 1. All right. So now we have a new question. This is a problem with center of mass, and we have two curves basically. One is y is equal to sine x, and the other is y is equal to 1. And we are talking about the region between 1 and sine x. So it is this region for x between 0 to pi by 2. So we are asked to find the center of mass when rho is equal to 1. So note that the centroid of a region is essentially the same as the center of mass when rho is equal to 1. So in the question you are asked find out the centroid of this region, it is just the same as finding the center of mass. Just take rho is equal to 1. So we remember that the formula for the formula for when this is a curve and this is another curve, and you are asked to find out the center of mass in the region x equal to a to x equal to b, then the x coordinate of the center of mass was, alright, so first the total mass was integration from g of x minus f of x dx from a to b, and this is the total mass or the total area, and the x coordinate when we substitute rho is equal to 1, it can be written down as integration of x times g of x minus f of x dx from a to b, and the y coordinate can be written down as integration of from a to b um, g of x squared minus f of x squared by 2 dx. All right, so in this case our g of x is the curve which is greater, so g of x would be 1 and f of x would be sine x. So therefore sorry, so the x coordinate would be this divided by the total mass which is this, and the y coordinate would be this divided by the total mass which is again this. So these are the coordinates of the center of mass. So now first we start with the area. Well, the total area is integration from 0 to pi by 2 1 minus sine x dx, and once you integrate and substitute the limits you get pi by 2 minus integration sine x is minus cos x, you'll have cos x here, and from 0 to pi by 2 which is nothing but pi by 2 minus 1. Alright, and so therefore the x coordinate of the center of mass would be integration from 0 to pi by 2 x times 1 minus sine x dx divided by the area here which is this. So this is nothing but 2 by 2 minus, sorry, 2 by pi minus 2, some algebra here, integration from 0 to pi by 2 x minus x sine x dx. So this can be written down as the integration is x square by 2, and you are evaluating at 0 and pi by 2 minus. So the integration for integrating x sine x dx, we'll use the by parts formula. So you'll have 2 by pi minus 2 times pi square by 8 minus, so I'll take this as f and this as g prime. So you will have integration of, so first of all you will have f times g which is x times the integration of sine x which is minus cos x minus integration of derivative of f, which is x1, and times integration of g prime, which is minus cos x 1 times minus cos x dx. And then we'll evaluate this stuff from 0 to pi by 2. So we'll have 2 by pi minus 2 times pi square by 8 minus. So here you will substitute pi by 2, you'll cos 90 would be 0, and when you substitute 0, x is 0. So this term will cancel out when substitute the limits. So you will have minus integration of cos x dx, because this minus and this minus will give us a plus sign. So this is equal to 2 by pi minus 2 times pi square by 8 minus the integration of cos x is sin x, and sin pi by 2 is 1. So we have this here. So we have 2 by pi minus 2 times pi square minus 8 by 8. So this is the x coordinate of the center of mass. And similarly, the y coordinate would be 2 by pi minus 2 times half integration from 0 to pi by 2 1 1 squared minus sine squared x dx. So I'm just substituting the formulas here. So you will have 1 by pi minus 2 times integration of 0 to pi by 2 1 minus sine square x, which is cos square x dx. And so in order to integrate cos square x, you will use the double angle formula. So cos square x is 1 plus cos 2x by 2. So this becomes integration from 0 to pi by 2. So I've already divided by 2. So there is 1 plus cos 2x dx. So this can be written down as 1 by 2 times pi minus 2. So integration from 0 to pi by 2, 1 is just pi by 2, plus integration of cos 2x is sin 2x by 2, and when you substitute pi by 2 and 0, it is just the same value, which is 0. So this term would be 0, and you will have pi by 4 times pi minus 2. So this is the y coordinate of the center of mass. So therefore the center of mass is at 2 by pi minus 2 times pi square minus 8 by 8 comma pi by 4 times pi minus 2. So this is the center of that region. So now, well, we can get down to another problem, which is to solve a particular differential equation. And we know that there is only one method of solving that you have learned, which is variable separable method, in which all you want to do is you want to separate the terms containing y on one side, the terms containing x on one side, and then you integrate on both sides. So that means this can be written on as dy by e to the power 2y is equal to sec t tan t dt. So multiplied by dt and divided by e to the power 2y, and then integrate both sides. So you will have the integration of e to the power minus 2y dy. So this is sec t tan t, which is just nothing but the differentiation of sec t. So the integration is sec t plus c, and here you have e to the power minus 2y by minus 2 is equal to sec t plus c. And now we want to find out the value of c using this equation. So y of 0 is equal to 0, which just means that you have to substitute t equal to 0 and y is equal to 0 using, and then find out the value of c. So when you substitute t equal to 0 and y equal to 0 in this equation, you get e to the power 0 by minus 2, which is nothing but minus 1 by 2, because e to the power 0 is 1, is equal to sec of 0 is 1 by cos of 0, which is 1, plus c. So a to the power, so I'll write this down, e to the power minus 2 times 0 by minus 2 is equal to sec of 0 plus c, and then you have this equation. From here you can see that c is equal to minus 3 by 2. So therefore this is the final answer. So now we have the following question in which we have to evaluate this series. Well, it looks like a geometric series, but we still have to think about what this means. Cos of pi by 2n. So if you remember the graph of cos x, it looks like this. So when you substitute n equal to 1, you have cos pi by 2, which is 0. When you substitute n equal to 2, you have cos pi, which is minus 1. When you substitute n equal to 3, you have cos 3 pi by 2, which is 0. When you substitute n equal to 4, you will have cos 2 pi, which is 1. And so on, these values keep on repeating. So basically, this term can be written down as sum over an times 3 to the power minus n, where an is as follows. It starts from it starts from 0, goes to minus 1, then 0, then 1, then 0, minus 1, 0, 1, and so on. So basically, all only the even terms of this sum will survive. So you can write this down as sum over n running from so you can write this down as k running from 1 to infinity, and instead of n you can take 2k times 3 to the power minus 2k, which can be written down as sum over k from 1 to infinity cos of k pi 3 to the power minus 2k. And now cos of k pi is nothing but minus 1 and 1, minus 1 and 1, and so on. So this can be written down as minus 1 to the power k, because it is minus 1 when k is odd and 1 when k is even. So minus 1 to the power k times 1 by 3 to the power 2k. So therefore this can be written down as sum over minus 1 by 9 whole to the power k. So now you can see that this is a geometric series with common ratio minus 1 by 9. So the sum of this geometric series is nothing but the first term a by 1 minus r, where a is the first term. So therefore this is equal to, so the first term is when you substitute k is equal to minus 1, k is equal to 1, which is minus 1 by 9 by 1 minus the common ratio is minus 1 by 9. So this is minus 1 by 9 by 10 by 9. So this sum is actually equal to minus 1 by 10. So this is our final answer. So now let's get down to another question. So we are given the following series, which is an clearly an alternating series, and we are asked why does it converge. So the only result we have for alternating series is the alternating series test, and the alternating series test is basically when you have sum over minus 1 to the power n by an, sorry, minus 1 to the power n times an, and an is positive, an is decreasing, and limit n tends to infinity, an is 0, then sum over minus 1 to the n, an is convergent. So let's look at our an. An is 1 by 2n plus 1, which is positive. It is decreasing because let's look at an plus 1. it is 1 by 2n plus 3, and an is 1 by 2n plus 1. And clearly an plus 1 is always less than equal to an, because this is greater than this, so therefore the reciprocal would be less than this. So limit n tends to infinity, an is limit of 2n plus 1, which is 1 by infinity, so this is 0. So therefore an satisfies all the three conditions, which means from alternating series test we have sum over n from 1 to infinity minus 1 to the power n plus 1 by 2n plus 1 converges. So the next question is, how many terms of this series are required so that error in approximating s is less than 0.01? So if you remember the result for alternating series approximation, it states that when you have the following alternating series and you want to take this difference where s is the total limit and this is the partial sum, then this is less than equal to an plus 1, and this is the error term. So therefore, sum over n from 1 to n minus 1 to the power n by 2n plus 1 minus s can be written is this difference is less than equal to the n plus 1 term of this series, which is just 1 by 2n plus 1 plus 1. So this is 1 by 2n plus 3, and now we need this to be less than equal to zero point zero 0.01, which is 1 by 100. So therefore we need 2n plus 3 greater than equal to 100. So n is like greater than equal to 48.5, greater than 48.5. So that means n is greater than equal to 49 is the final answer. So you will need 49 terms so that the error is like less than 0.01, which is a very big number if you ask me. So the next question is, evaluate S using this. So S is this sum. So we have to use this Maclaurin series to evaluate S. So let's see what happens to this Maclaurin series. It is this, and when you substitute x is equal to 1 here, because clearly when you substitute x equal to 1, you are almost obtaining this series. So you will have tan inverse of 1 is equal to sum over n running from 0 to infinity. Here we have 1 to infinity, and there is minus 1 to the power n here, but we are on s we have minus 1 to the power n plus 1, so we need to alter this series so as to get s. All right, so what can we write down here? So first we'll start the sum from 1 to infinity and bring out the zero term, which is minus 1 to the power 0 by 2 times 0 plus 1. So this is just 1 plus sum over this. And now since there is minus 1 to the power n plus 1 here, but minus 1 to the power n here, so we'll multiply with a minus 1 and divide with a minus 1. Since this doesn't change the limit, we already seen that this is convergent, so we can multiply and divide with any number in the sequence. You get 1, so 1 by minus 1 is just minus, and finally you have this, which is nothing but s. So tan inverse 1 is equal to 1 minus s. So that means s is equal to 1 minus tan inverse of 1. And you know that tan inverse 1 is pi by 4. So s is actually equal to 1 minus pi by 4. And this is our final answer. So let's look at another example. Set up the integral for the length of this curve. So you should remember that the length of a function given by y is equal to f of x from x a to b is nothing but equal to this integration a to b square root of 1 plus f prime of x whole squared dx. and f prime of x is here is 3x squared, the derivative of x cube. So therefore this integration is equal to 1 to 2, since a and b are 1 and 2 respectively. Square root of 1 plus the square of this, which is 9x4 dx, and this is our final answer. Also the integration, the formula for the surface area is nothing but 2 pi f of x square root of 1 plus f prime of x whole square dx. So this can be written down as integration from 1 to 2 pi times f of x is x cube, and this is square root of 1 plus 9x4 dx. So this is our final answer. And so now let's look at another question. So determine whether this series converges or diverges. So if we want to know if this series converges or diverges, so let's look at the nth term when n tends to infinity. So this is n times cos of 1 by n by 2n plus 1. So this can be thought of as limit n tends to infinity cos of 1 by n by, so I'm dividing by n for in the numerator and the denominator, so I'll get 1 times 2 plus 1 by n. And when you substitute limit n tends to infinity, this is cos 0, which is 1, and this is 2 plus 0, which is 2. So this is our limit half, and clearly this is non-zero. So therefore, using divergence test, if the nth term does not go to 0 with n tends to infinity, this series will diverge. So that is how you solve this. So now let's get down to another question. Sum over n from 1 to infinity 2n square minus 3n by n cube plus n plus 7. So you can see that approximately can be written down as, so this n and n plus 7 are very small as compared to 2n square and n cube. So when n is large, this can be written down like this, which can be thought of as 2 by n. So we know that 1 by n diverges, so therefore this sum should also diverge. So we'll take bn is equal to 1 by n, an is equal to 2n square minus 3n by n cube plus n plus 7, and then we use limit comparison test. So in limit comparison test, you take the ratio of these terms, which by the way is equal to 2n square minus 3n by n cube plus n plus 7 by 1 by n. So this n goes in the numerator, and you have 2n cube minus 3n squared by n cube plus n plus 7. And when you divide by n cube in the numerator and the denominator, or just use the L'Hopital's rule, whatever suits you. So this limit is 2 by 1. So all these terms are 0 when n tends to infinity. So this is a non-zero limit. So therefore, an diverges, sum over an diverges if and only if sum over bn diverges, where sum over bn is sum over 1 by n, which diverges. We know that from the p series when p is equal to 1. So therefore, sum over an should also diverge. This is the limit comparison test at use. So now let's look at another example. Determine if this convergence is absolute or conditional. So first we'll check for absolute convergence. So we'll take the modulus of this, which is n running from 2 to infinity 1 by n log n power 5. Since n runs from 2 to infinity, this is always positive. So we know that this is a decreasing sequence because n log n is increasing because both these terms are increasing. So therefore the reciprocal should be decreasing. And also these are all positive, and limit n tends to infinity 1 by n log n power phi is, well, it is 0. So therefore we can use the integral test, since we can integrate this function. So we'll integrate this function from 2 to infinity. So this is clearly integrable because if you take u is equal to log x, you'll have du is equal to 1 by x dx, which is also there in this. So therefore this becomes log 2 to infinity 1 by 1 by t to the u to the power 5 du, because dx by x becomes du. So this is nothing but minus 1 by 4 u to the phi log 2 and log infinity and infinity. So this can be written down as 1 by 4 log 2 whole power phi, which is a finite number. Since this integral is finite, so the integral test tells us that sum of this converges. This converges. So therefore this series will converge absolutely because the modulus converges. So that is how you solve this. So now let's look at another example. We want to find the interval of convergence of this series. So remember that for finding interval of convergence, first you find the limit of the n plus 1 term by n term and make it less than 1. So therefore we'll have limit n tends to infinity mod of x plus 1 to the power n plus 1 by root n plus 1 phi to the n plus 1 by root n phi to the n mod x plus 1 to the n, and this limit has to be less than 1. So this can be written down as mod x plus 1. So because this and this would cancel out, leaving a 1 power in the numerator, this and this would cancel out, leaving 1 power in the denominator, and you have square root of n by n plus 1. So these two terms are independent of n, so the limit transfers here, and this limit is equal to 1. So therefore mod x plus 1 by phi is less than 1, which just means that x plus 1 lies between phi to minus phi. So this can be written down as mod x plus 1 less than phi, and this just means this term lies between minus phi to phi. So x lies between minus 6 to 4. And for finding out the interval of convergence, we also need to check at endpoints. So endpoints are minus 6 and 4. So now let's substitute x is equal to minus 6 in this sum. So when you substitute n is equal to minus 6, you get sum over n running from 1 to infinity. Minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5, and minus 5 to the power n is minus 1 to the power n, 5 to the power n, root n, 5 to the power n. This term will cancel out, and you finally have this. So this is an alternating series, and we know that 1 by root n is positive, decreasing, and limit is 0. So therefore this sum will converge using alternating series test. And so therefore x is equal to minus 6 is a point of convergence. Let's check at x is equal to 4. So you will have 4 plus 1 to the power n by root n 5 to the power n, which is nothing but 5 to the power n by 5 to the power n by 1 by root n. So this is 1 by root n. This 2 will cancel out. And this is a p series. P is equal to half. So therefore, which is less than 1. So therefore, this series diverges. So therefore, 4 is not a point of convergence. So therefore, the interval of convergence is, if we include 6 or we include minus 6 and we exclude 4 and all the points in between, it would converge. So the answer is minus 6 to 4 and 6 included and x excluded. So now let's get down to another question where we have to find the find the Taylor series for this function f of x is equal to sine x and the second degree Taylor polynomial centered at x is equal to pi by 4, which means we'll have to take a is equal to pi by 4. And remember that the Taylor polynomial for n terms is sum over f k of a x minus a power k by k factorial, k running from 0 to n. So in our case, when we substitute n is equal to 2, we get f0 of pi by 4 plus f prime of pi by 4 times x minus pi by 4 plus f double prime of pi by 4 times x minus pi by 4 whole squared by 2. So f0 of pi by 4, which is nothing but f of pi by 4, is sine pi by 4, which is 1 by root 2. F prime of x is cos x, so therefore f prime of pi by 4 is also 1 by root 2. F double prime of x is minus sine x, so therefore f double prime of pi by 4 is minus 1 by root 2. So now the Taylor polynomial can be written down as um, f of pi by 4 plus f prime of pi by 4 times x minus pi by 4 plus f double prime of pi by 4 times x minus pi by 4 whole squared. So this is the Taylor polynomial for second degree. And also we are to estimate the error in f of pi by 8 using t2 of pi by 8. So we know that this error is uh, is less than equal to k times f k times uh, x minus a to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1 factorial, where k is the maximum of modulus of f n plus 1 of c, where c lies between a to x. So therefore this is the maximum of, and so when you substitute n is equal to 2, you get that this error is less than equal to k times pi by 2. So x is pi by 8 and a is pi by 4, the center. So this is pi by 8 minus pi by 4 modulus of 3 by 3 factorial, which is 6. So I'll write down 3 factorial, and k is the maximum of, so we know that f double prime of x is triple prime is minus cos x. So therefore modulus of this is modulus of cos x, which is cos x, and we want to find out the maximum value of this between uh, a is pi by 4 and c is pi by 8. So between pi by 4 and pi by 8, the maximum value of cos c, know that cos is looks like this, and pi by 4 is here and pi by 8 is here. So therefore the maximum in this interval would be just cos pi by 8. So therefore this error is less than equal to cos of pi by 8 by 6 times this difference is pi by 8 whole cube, which is the final answer for error. Alright, so the next question is to find the Maclaurin series of 1 by 1 plus x, log of 1 plus x, and to evaluate some summation. So remember that 1 by 1 plus x is 1 by 1 minus minus x. This can be written down as sum over minus x to the power n and running from 0 to infinity. And this can be written down as sum of this, where mod x is less than 1. And now log of 1 plus x is nothing but the integration of this. And since we know the Maclaurin series of this, you can integrate it term by term. So you can write this down as integrating this term by term. You get the Maclaurin series for log of 1 plus x. And now in order to evaluate this sum, all you need to do is substitute x is equal to 1 here. So you will have log of 2. So 1 plus 1, which is log of 2. I'm substituting x is equal to 1 in this. So you'll have this minus 1 to the power n. 1 to the power n plus 1 is just 1. This, which is nothing but 1 minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3, and so on. So this sum is actually equal to log of 2, which is the final answer. Alright, so the next question is to convert a parametric equation into rectangular forms. So as soon as you see cos t and sin t, just use the fact that cos square t plus sin square t is equal to 1, and cos t can be written down as since x is equal to cos t plus 1, cos t can be written down as x minus 1 by 2, and sin t can be written down as y by 3. So therefore you will have x minus 1 by 2 whole square plus y square by 9 is equal to 1. And this is the rectangular form of this parametric equation. So for the next question, we have some parametric equation, and we have to find the slope of the curve. So remember that the slope of the curve is given by dy by dx, and when they are in parametric form, this can be written down like this. So from this, dy by dt is equal to cos t, and since x is equal to t to the power t, dx by dt is e to the power t plus t to the power t. So therefore dy by dx can be written down as this by this, which is cos t by e to the power t times t plus 1. Alright, so this is the slope at any point. And so the equation of tangent line at t equal to 0. So as we found out that the slope is given like this, so if you want the equation of tangent line at equal to 0, so x is t to the power t and y is 3 plus sine t. So therefore, when you substitute t equal to 0, the point on the curve is nothing but 0 comma y is equal to 3. So therefore, the point is this, and the slope is, when you substitute t is equal to 0, you get cos 0 by e to power 0 times 0 plus 1, which is nothing but 1. So therefore, the line passes through 0 comma 3 with a slope of 1. So therefore, the equation would be this. So y is equal to x plus 3 is the final answer. Now find the length of the curve for t between 0 to 1, and we know that the length of a curve for a parameterized equation is this. So this can be written down as 0 to 1 square root of, since we already found out x prime t, which is e to the power t times t plus 1 whole squared, plus this is cos square t. So this is square root of e to the power 2t times t plus 1 whole squared plus cos square t dt. And this is our final answer. We don't need to evaluate this because this integration can't be done. So now let's look at another example. So here you want to sketch the graph of this equation r is equal to 2 sine theta. So here we have a common trick. You just multiply with r on on both the sides, and remember that x is r cos theta, y is r sine theta, and x square plus y square is r squared. So therefore can be written down as x square plus y square is equal to 2y. And now this is the equation of a circle. You just have to write it in some way. Just adding 1 on both sides, you get this, which can be written down as this. So now this is a circle with center at 0 comma 1 with radius 1. So therefore it is a circle with center here and radius 1, which is tangent to the x-axis. Alright. So now we want to, so this is the final problem. Find the area bounded by one petal of this curve. So remember that this can be thought of like this. Something like this. And so, as a matter of fact, you actually don't need to know what the graph looks like. You can just take 4 theta is equal to 2 pi. So theta is equal to 2 pi by 4, which is, yeah. So as a matter of fact, all you need to do is look at the values of theta at pi by 8, 2 pi by 8, and so on. So when you do that, when you substitute theta is equal to pi by 8, you get sine pi by 2, which is 1. So at angle pi by 8, it reaches its maximum value, and at angle 2 pi by 8, when you substitute 2 pi by 8, you get 8 pi by 8, which is pi, which is 0. So at angle pi by 4, you just get back to where you were. So that means from theta equal to 0 to theta is equal to pi by 4, one petal is bound. So that means from 0 to pi by 4, this is the curve, and you want to find out its area. Then the formula for area is, so essentially what we have done is we found out the values 0 and pi by 4 using substituting the values at some intervals. So you get 0 to pi by 4, and the area is f of theta whole square d theta by 2. So this can be written down as half integration from 0 to pi by 4, 4 sine square 4 theta d theta. So just if you get confused or something, whenever you have sine of k theta, just remember to just integrate from 0 to pi by k. Just integrate from 0 to pi by k of the, you just have to find the bounds of integration, and then you can just substitute stuff inside the formula. So just don't mess this up. 0 to pi by k, you are good. So now all you need to do is 4 theta is equal to u. So this is half, so therefore d theta is du by 4. So this becomes integration 0 to pi by 4 times 4, which is pi. 4 d theta becomes du, and sine square 4 theta becomes sine square u. So this is half times, so the integration of sine square u is 1 by 4 integration of 1 plus cos 2u, sorry, 1 minus cos 2u. So this is 1 by 4 integration from 0 to pi 1 minus cos 2u du. So this can be written as pi by 4 minus 0 to pi cos 2u du, and this integration is sine 2u by 2, and when you substitute these values it just cancels out. So this is the final answer, the area bound by one petal.